Hey, I'm Drew from drewlearns.com, and today I'm going to teach you how to create a WordPress website on Flywheel hosting from the site we created on my last video in local. We're going to push it from local to the cloud, and I'm also going to show you how you can copy my site almost exactly. And without further ado, here we go. So head over to getflywheel.com, and you can see they're doing their Fly July sale. It's a pretty good deal. They do 2 a year, once in July and once in November. You can get monthly hosting for I think $11.25 a month. It's pretty good. You're going to click Get Started and follow the account creation process, and then you'll need to check your email and make sure that you get this Welcome to Flywheel email and click Verify Account. After you've verified your account, you can you'll be redirected to a link that has you log into your Flywheel account, provide a phone number to two-factor authenticate your user. So you type in the code that you get in a text message and then verify. Until you've done that, you will not be able to create a site. So I'm going to log in. I've already logged in with my user here. There we go. Now that we're logged in, you'll be taken to this welcome screen, and you can click create a new site, or you can click here. Now, if you fill this form out, you'll be setting yourself up to pay for a site. And what we want to do for this demonstration is create a demo site. Click there, give this site a name, in this case demo 1. We're going to click, you can give it a name if you like, but I like the randomly generated name. Sometimes they make me laugh. And then give a random username and password for WordPress. Now this will not matter because we're going to push our site to override this. So I'm going to use Rick and Morty, and then I'm going to give it a secure password. And now after I've done this, I should be able to click create a demo site. Now I've already got one created to save myself some technical difficulties, and it'll say one is remaining with a blue button. Now once it's already created, you can see it on, it'll be spinning up for 5 to 10 minutes. And while that's happening, we're going to go over to local. And now in local, you need to log into your host. So you click this little cloud button here, connect, log into a host, and we're going to click log into Flywheel. And from there, we'll log into Drew Learns and local to continue. You should see this pop up. Now you can see the site that we've just created or are creating, and you may have to wait a moment until this finishes spinning up. Once it's spun up, you can go to the site and view it. I'm going to move me to this side so I'm not in the way of local. Now within local, we can pull this site to local, but we don't want to. What we want to do is go back to our list of sites by clicking this icon. We're going to go to Portfolio, and we're going to start this site. Now that it's started, I'd like to discuss some basic troubleshooting that you may come across. I think with WordPress, the most common errors that you will run into is a 500 error. 500 errors are almost exclusively caused by plugins and themes. And so Flywheel doesn't offer WPCLI just yet, but I hope they do in the future. But in local you do, and so the way you access that is click here, and you go to Open Site Shell, and terminal will open. And now in this terminal, I can see what plugins are installed, and there's a simple command, WP for WordPress, plugin list. Now, this is the first of 3 commands I'm going to teach you. And I'm going to teach you a flag to work around errors. Now, let's say that reword is causing me an error. And the reason I know this is because I have turned on Flywheel, I can go to Advanced and turn on WP Debug. And what this will do, if I click that, it'll refresh the site, and then you'll see an error readout. And if you watched my last video, I showed you where you can find your plugins and themes. So if you click up here, it'll open up your folders. You go to Public, and then inside WP Content is your plugins and themes. So you'll see an error readout that has this file path or this file path in it, and so you can identify which plugin is causing the issue. It'll say like /plugin/reword, right? And so there's two ways to deactivate that plugin that's causing you problems. So you can go into plugins, and you could go to reword, and you could rename it. Let's see, where's rename? Okay, and so we want to just add a star to the end. Now if I rerun that same command in terminal, you'll see that reword, which was active, will be inactive. And that's because the database is looking for reword, and the star throws it off. Now if I turn this, I can reactivate this by just changing the name back. Oh, rename. This being challenging. Reword. All right, and now if I run the same command one more time, you'll see reword is active. Right there, reword is active. Now that's the status. You can also see if there's an update available and a version that's currently active. Now in WPCLI, you can activate and deactivate plugins, and it's pretty easy. So here's how you do it: WP plugin activate, and then or deactivate. So activate will activate a plugin like Jetpack, for example. It's inactive. If I was to use WP plugin activate and then say Jetpack, it would activate it. We're going to deactivate reword. Deactivate reword. Let's see. Now if we do WP plugin list, you'll see that reword is actually deactivated, and it's done that. It's done that in the actual database. So WP plugin activate reword, and so now it's reactivated. There we go. Now, if you're having a 500 error, chances are this WPCLI will actually prevent you from running these commands. And the way to work around that is with WP plugin deactivate reword, and then you would get pass two flags. And the first flag is skip dash plugins, and then dash dash skip dash themes. So you can run that actually by default if you want to. I used it as a snippet. I copy pasted this, and then I would type in /skip. I don't have it set up on my Alfred currently because I don't use WordPress as often as I was a couple months ago. So now we can reactivate that plugin using WP plugin activate reword. I'm being repetitive with this, and also buying time for your install to complete. And so the last one that I'm going to teach you is WP theme list and how to activate a new theme. So you can see a list of all your themes. The same thing, you can see the status is active, parent, inactive. And in my last video, I explained the difference between parent and a child theme. And you can see the active version. Right now, 2019 is not active. With themes, you cannot deactivate. You can only activate another one. A theme has to be active at all times. So we'll go to WP theme activate 2019. Now, if we go to the site, you'll see that the theme is completely changed and looks totally different from what it did before. This is the site, and it doesn't really match what we've already created. So what we'll want to do is go back there and activate Authority Pro. So WP theme activate Authority Pro. And once again, those flags, skip theme and skip plugins, they work on all commands in WPCLI. All right, so now if I refresh that page, now that that's active, you can see it looks like this. Now we're going to close these extra tabs, and now that your site is likely already spun up and available over here, we're going to make some changes to the developmental site in local first. So click on admin. Now if you've already customized your site and it's ready to go and you're ready to send it to potential employers and say, hey, check out my awesome resume portfolio site, then you can certainly just skip ahead in this video and forget this step. But if you'd like to learn how to copy or import another person's site or theme demo, this is how you do it. So you go to Tools, Import, and in the comments section there is a link to download a .xml file. So go ahead and download that, and then head back over here to Run Importer, and from Run Importer you want to choose that file, and that file is going to be called DrewLearnsExport.xml. You want to upload the file and import, and then this page is asking you who do you want to attribute the work on those pages to. And in this case, I'm logged in as admin because this is just a blank portfolio from the file I provided you in the last tutorial. And you also want to check this download and import file attachments. This is the photos and everything else associated with it. So go ahead and click submit. And now it's telling me that it already exists because I did this before the video happened. And if that error comes up, what you'll want to do is head over to Pages and select all, bulk actions, move to trash, apply, and then head over to your trash and empty the trash. It's right here, empty trash. And now after you've emptied trash, one of the things that you'll import is the comment policy. Just go ahead and throw that in the trash. The next thing you'll have to do is go to Appearance and Customize. And from Customize, you'll want to set the homepage settings, which will pop up any second. Here we go, homepage settings. And you'll want to set homepage to homepage, and then publish. Now your website will look like this. Now let me go back to it. Note that the only thing that's different from my live site is the colors here, 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 and the main accents, and the images will not load. And this is because there's a course policy, and I'm pretty sure if I inspect, you'll see a course error. Yeah, so failed to load the 502. I have I have a bunch of security features, and it's not a course error. Ironically, I'm surprised. Okay, so from there, now we're ready. So, hey, let's send this to my future employers. Back in local, we want to connect this to a host. So click on this, and you'll see a different page initially. Connect to host. So you'll click this little button that's about where my face is, and it'll open up Flywheel, and you'll log in again, just like you did before. And then a pop-up will appear asking you if you'd like to open it in local. And once you open it in local, you'll see your demo site that you've created on local. Now you could pull it, but we don't want to. We want to go back to our site list, and we want to select the host that this site is going to be connected to and select Flywheel. And now we're going to hover over this little cloud with the radio arrows pointing upwards towards the cloud, and it's going to check the site compatibility. Since you're using the preferred environment, if you're not, I recommended it in my last video. Anyway, so we're going to click that, push to Flywheel, and then we're going to select the demo site. And if you had Pro, you could select staging, but we're using the free version, and then we want to be sure to select include database. If you don't include the database, it's not going to work. You would do this if you were just adding photos, or you didn't want to overwrite your cart. There's some random off cases, but make sure to select that. And then push to Flywheel. So now what you'll see, if I go back to Flywheel, it's going to prepare to push. Flywheel's not going to change at all, at least not initially. This will, and I just like to take a moment to give you a brief introduction to Flywheel's dashboard. Move my face out of the way. This process can take up to 5 to 20 minutes. If it takes longer than 20 minutes, something's wrong, and you should cancel the push. And then double check on the advanced tab and see if anything is blurred out. And this happens occasionally. Bear in mind, if your site is over 5 gigabytes, it will not push. So let's kind of look at some of the things going on this dashboard. Right now, you can see that it applied a randomly generated domain for my website right now. And if I go to it right now, you'll see that it's just a generic vanilla WordPress website. But oh, I got this pop-up that says I need to sign in. But is this my WordPress login? No, it's actually privacy mode. And if you scroll down just a little bit further, you can see your username is Flywheel, and this is your password. And you can change this if you like. You cannot turn off privacy mode until you've set up billing. So Flywheel, and then copy pasta. So while that's loading, here we go. Here's the demo site. It looks like it pushed already. So just because it says it pushed doesn't mean that but doesn't mean the actual hosting Flywheel has received that yet. That just means it packaged it up and sent it. Now Flywheel will be going through its process of chewing up that file that it received, and then it's going to refresh your site, and that can take a few minutes. And sometimes cache can get in the way. So the other thing I'd like to point out is right here is your IP address for this server, and you can also enable an SSL. And if you remember on my last video where I discussed SSL, it's one of the first things that you should do when creating a WordPress website, and they provide free SSL. So just go ahead and complete the SSL setup. Now, if you go to your performance tab, this is a new feature that Flywheels added. You can add this add-on for $25 a month and get performance insights for your site. You can see stats, like you can see how many visits you've had, and you can see like this month, last month, and it actually shows you like the last 60 days or this calendar month or the last 30 days. You can see your backups. Now, one of the things I recommend doing is running a backup as soon as you create a site, unless you're pushing from local. And you can add comments or do manually. What Flywheel will do before you push is actually back up your existing site first. So it kind of already did that. So it's running a backup before your local connect. And so it's already received the files. Now it's just backing you up before it refreshes and you lose anything. And they store 30 days of backups, and it's a one-click restore. So if you say like made a breaking change, you can just restore it. No big deal. Advanced. So in advanced, you can flush your cache, which if you're developing, you'll probably want to do. You can reset login attempts, and this is if you lock yourself out, you can just come here and reset. Exporting logs, you can export up to 7 days worth of logs. You can get your access log, PHP, error log, and slow logs, which are super helpful. And you can also enable staging after you have billing set up. And staging is just a clone of your live site, database and all. But it's actually in the same environment, but it will have privacy mode enabled by default. even on a paid account. And this is because you don't want people to just like be able to access the wrong site, make an order, or have duplicative data on Google and causing negative search engine results. So development mode, this is an interesting thing that I would recommend turning on initially when you're developing a site. At least if you're developing it live on a cloud host instead of local. And if you're troubleshooting or just made changes and you're not seeing them immediately, you can turn off caching, and that's generally helpful. The next thing after turning on SSL, you're going to want to turn on force HTTPS. And what this does is ensures that anybody who accesses this site will automatically never see an HTTP not secure message. It will always be HTTPS : // All right, and so you can see it's busy, so you can't do anything right now. And so the next thing I would talk about is billing. You can set up your billing here if you decide to go live with this. They also have some really cool features that allow you to like tag. So let's say you actually host like 50 plus sites, so you can give it a name. Like, so this one is for my client Drew, and it is a portfolio site, if I could spell, and you know what theme I'm using, so Authority Pro, Genesis. You know, I can list the plugins that are on it, make it real easy if I need to update plugins. So when I go back to my sites, I can come over here and say, oh, filter my sites, and I can filter them by a bunch of different options. You know, like I can use one of my tags, or I can organize them by sites. So if you have other PHP versions, you can select, you know, which sites are PHP 7.4 or which ones are outdated WordPress version. The CDN is on by default on new sites. So every site on Flywheel will have Fastly CDN with Flycache, and then multi-site. So if you have multi-sites on there, you can just view just your multi-sites, and you can see whether you have staging on or off, and an SSL. And you can also search by your organizations if you have one set up. I'm not going to get into that today. Now, let's see, what else is there to kind of look at? It should be finished running that force HTTPS. It's basically a database search and replace that searches for all your links with HTTP in it and changes them to HTTPS. And also, when moving from local to live, it's going to change from portfolio.local to whatever your primary domain is. So let's say I want to add a new primary domain. I can do that right here. So let's say I want to make this drewlearns drewlearns.com, and I'll make this my primary. And by default, it'll automatically add www, or www, as a lot of my coworkers call it. You can just add the domain. And once you add that domain, you'll need to make sure that your DNS from your name servers are pointed to this IP. And I'll go over that in another video. I think there's a big misconception with DNS and how complicated it is, and a lot of people are very nervous about DNS, and I can demystify it in a future video. I think it's way easier than it probably sounds. You can change the name of the site right here by clicking this, change site name, and I can just make it like Drew. You know, it doesn't really matter. You can change it to whatever you want. And you can also add a screenshot of the site so it's easier to identify when you're looking through it, or you can take an automatic screenshot. I recommend not taking an automatic screenshot until your site is ready to go, because it will cache this for, I believe, at least 30 days and it won't update. So just a reminder not to do that. And my site name is changed. Let's go back to advanced and look at the last, oh, it's still forcing HTTPS. Now it's running like a backup followed by, I think, 4 or 5 search and replaces. And it does a pretty thorough job. So yeah, so on the backups tab, you can see this is created before search and replace to HTTPS. Let's go back here. Advanced. I should have pushed and completed, but just to be sure, I'm gonna wait. Let's go to the website and see what it looks like. Now remember, it's still got that privacy mode on. You can see it's already showing secure, and this is my site that I just pushed up, and it's working, and it's live. So yes, if you have any questions about what you've just done or what you've seen me do, give me a shout on Twitter. I'm happy to take any kind of feedback. My Twitter handle is DrewLearns2, like the number 2, and I look forward to making more tutorials. I hope you enjoyed. Take care.